How to go from fat to shredded. When science meets art, this is what we are capable of doing. Now, you may think, Tom, this is the 5th video you've done on body recomposition. What the fuck, man? And do you know why? Do you know why it's the 5th video? And I will continue week on week when these results keep coming out. There's 2 reasons why I keep making videos like this. These videos consolidate everything we talk about on the channel, the self-image transformation, the nitty-gritty of macros, training. It consolidates it all into one video and you get to see it pump out in real form. And I'm all about delivering value, but I want you to know I can back it up with real-world results for real-world people. I haven't plugged his testimonial in this actually, so you could say, oh, you just found the pictures, but I think you understand at this point. If you go on my Instagram, you can see the result that came out yesterday. So it's important. And as well, I find where it's a complex topic, if someone keeps going over it, but attacking it from different angles, it starts to seep in. The analogy I'm going to use is, remember when you get a new iPhone, it asks for your thumbprint. You put the thumb on and it takes a certain amount of them, and the lines start moving from where your thumb is. And then you do it again and it creates more, and then the last one, then it's got your full thumb. That is what we're trying to do with your brain on how to get you looking like this. This is where we're going to fucking take you to, boys. Very, very exciting stuff. And do you know why I'm even more excited? Because I've got a box underneath my laptop, which now means the height of the camera is better. I won't get neck ache, and it doesn't look like I'm talking down to you either from a position of fucking power, because it's not about that, boys. So let's roll in. Why people look like this. This is the first thing we need to establish with you. Why do people look like this? This is the cycle, which I've seen, which from when the guys come to me, this is the common cycle of the way things go. They start to train and eat and they do a few things, but the problem is they have the basics, and that will get you so far. But this is the problem. It will get you so far, and then where you lack knowledge, you lack the ability to get to the next stages. So imagine I tell you to go under, you've all seen the picture, haven't you? Where there's a guy digging for gold deep under the ground and he gives up, and there's another guy that just kept digging a little bit further. There's the photos underneath and he gets the gold. Well, imagine it's like that, but you don't know you're going to get the gold. So you just keep digging and digging and digging, training, burning energy, seeing other people go past you, and you're like, fuck. And then you just lose motivation because of the lack of knowledge of how to get to the next stages. Obviously, that's why we're here, and that's why I'm here to educate you on this. So we lose motivation. And when we lose motivation, we lose drive. We lose the incessant need to hit the goal because we believe the goal is too far away. And that's all that really happened with this client here. And then all of this results in you losing that fucking fire in your belly. When you lose that fire in your belly to get in good shape, you ain't gonna bother going. If it's raining outside, you ain't gonna walk to the gym if you ain't got that fire in your belly. Of course you've not. I have the fire in the belly for you guys to deliver good fucking videos. That's why I turn up every day and give fucking good videos, because I have got that fire in my belly to help people. If you lose that fire in your belly for training, of course you're gonna get out of shape. The body is like a the body is just a rotten piece of flesh if you think about it. It just wants to be in shit shape, especially with the way the world's set up. The body just wants to just get fat and vegetate and hairy and get comfy. And obviously we have to do everything in our power to stop that from happening. And of course that is why we're here, and that is what we're going to do. So the next thing you may think is, right, I'm in that position. I've lost the fire in my belly. I lack the knowledge. Motivation's not really there. I've got kind of goals, bigger, leaner like everyone else, but nothing so tangible. What do you do next? Here's what we do. First of all, you need to zoom out. Just pause for a second. Zoom out, gain perspective on your own life. Okay? So as you zoom out, what you need to understand is where you are at and what you're happy with. So we need to assess your self-image. I've done quite a few videos on self-image transformation. You can find them. Look at the one that's 2.0. That's like the newest one, and it's pretty decent. We need to assess your self-image transformation. So when we do this, we need to think, right, Okay, I look like this, my friends are like this, the group I'm in is this, the job I have is this. Now, we have an analogy which is known as hot coal rocks. It's where if I put you on hot coal rocks, you would stand, it's the time it takes for you to jump off because you're like, no, I can't stand on that. That's impossible. Just like you'd be like, no, I can't accept just making £1,000 a month in my bank account. It has to be at least 3,000 or my fucking family go hungry. That is your hot coal rock line. And you will have that across every domain of your life. Money, the people you hang around with, though, you will have found that like you'll get some random guy that will come into the circle, or he'll be around you, maybe in the pub or something, and he'll just be a little bit too scummy for you to be stood with or seen with, or just to even like interact his energy with, and he will be below it, and you will take yourself out of that group quite quickly. The same actually goes for your hygiene and cleanliness. There will be a certain amount of time before you're like, the floor needs a fucking dig out. That pot needs putting away. I'm an OCD weirdo, but obviously I was raised like that, and I've been in the army for 10 years. So obviously my place is like a fucking, it looks like I don't even live here, and I love that. People don't. When people come around, they're like, do you even live here? I'm like, that's how it wants to be. So that's my hot coal rock line. Like, it just has to be clean and tidy because that's my standard. Someone will have an even higher standard than that. Someone will walk around daily and just run their finger across every fucking surface to make sure there's no dust on it. Where I'm going with this is we need to raise that for you and your standard and your physique. I personally will never be above 17% body fat, even at the end of an absolute fucking hell for leather bulk. That is my hot coal rock line, and I will not go above that because that is who I am and my self-image. I will not accept anything less than that. Just like I won't accept not going to the gym for more than 5 days in a row. I couldn't ever tell you when that's ever happened, by the way, because that is just my standard. That's my hot coal rock line. So we need to raise that for you. How do we raise that for you is the next question. Because it's all well and good me saying it, and this sounds quite good, and a little tool you can use. And if you've not yet, read the book Psycho-Cybernetics. Very, very good book on self-image and transformation. But the video I made on the 2.0, it basically synthesizes all that into one point. So we need to set the goal. We need to set the goal of, okay, we want to be 8% body fat, cool. But then we need to understand who you need to become to get to that goal. Everything I speak about on here is all about, this whole channel is all about developing you into the man you need to become. This is a fitness channel, but if we digged one surface layer deeper, which I don't just yet, but I will do as the channel grows, it's about developing you into the man you need to become. It's personal development on a big scale, and that's what this needs to be. So we need to set the goal and think, well, what is the man that I need to become? I.e. that guy that is 8% body fat, what is he doing on a day-to-day basis? What would he do in this situation? So then what we need to do is actually, we need to script out how your day is going to go. So what he would do is something like this. He'd script out his day the night before, and that is probably the most important timing within your whole given day. So you know what time the man you need to become would wake up. Cool, he'd get up at 6 a.m, he'd go for a cold shower, he'd weigh himself. Then he'd go straight out for a walk, get a load of his steps in, get his mind in a good freight, get himself in a good state of mind, ready to attack and seize the day. Then he'd have his first meal, then he'd go to work. This is whatever work you go and do for a living. This day would fit my usual day in the army previously. That's why I've structured it like this. So he'd work, 10:30 he'd have a break, so he'd have his pre-gym meal, work until 12, then he'd do push or whatever training day he was on for the week, do his training session, post-gym meal, back to work at 2, work till 5, wraps up then, has the next meal 2, then he's into a learning block because you need to think, right, how can I get a competitive advantage in whatever field it is you're doing or whatever it is you want to grow on, you need to be learning at some point. So majority of the day is doing, but also we have some learning block. Finish that, then you're allowed your fun time, you go on a date with a bird, you take your wife out for dinner or not dinner because you're dieting, you take her up a mountain or something like that, whatever you want to do in that period of time from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. This is written out in military timings. As you can tell, I used to be in the military, so I just thought scripted like that. Some of you will appreciate it, some of you will think, what is that even read? From there, you'll come back, you'll have meal 3 and 4, which is normally like evening meal / like desserty style meal. If you're on my program, that's pretty much what everyone has. Then you're into your last block of steps, consolidate throughout the day, what went well, boom, 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 out, perfect, enjoying life. And then obviously most important timing, you script the day for tomorrow, the night before on your iPhone notes page, because you know what the best version of you should do tomorrow. However, when tomorrow comes, if you don't blindly follow this list, your emotions will take over, you will sack things off, and you will lose drive, motivation, goal, and get fat. So then you go to bed at 2200 on the dot every night, boom, 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 and you keep repeating this process. And that is what a day will look like. That is what you need to do to become the man you need to become. Now, I have this conversation daily with my clients. I've been on calls and literally made them script out their day, like what that looks and feels like. Why? Because it leaves nothing up to chance. If I want to get the transformation, the result out of the guys, which I fucking do, probably more than they do, because it's my credibility on the line. So the drive I have to help them get the result is massive. So I make them script this out. So I know when they're doing their steps. I know when they're eating. I know when they're training. I know when they're sleeping. So I know everything is scripted out. It is going to increase the likelihood that they get to the man that they need to become. The man that they need to become then has the fucking insane physique, the 8% body fat, and looks like next level. So that's what we do. And that's what you're going to do next. Then obviously we now go through the process. This is the nitty gritty. So now what I'm going to talk you through is setting up your, is the setup. So where you are at currently, body fat, scale weight, what calories you should be eating, what the macros look like, what training you should be doing. Then we'll go through the time frame, what is progress looks like, and then when do you need to adjust it? Because when you need to adjust it is probably the most important part, and that's the knowledge gap that people are missing. And then how to make the body respond when it's not responding, because it obviously will respond on a certain input output, but eventually it will not respond. Then you need to make that change and adjust. So let's roll straight into that. So the first thing we want to do is assess your current body composition. Now, obviously this is a case study for the client, so we use the client's photo. Now, I actually got this a little bit wrong in January when he came to me, because maybe I was fairly new, maybe I was hyper in his favor, but actually, so I thought he was about 17. I think he's definitely much closer to 20, 100% closer to 20, maybe even a bit above. He has good ab structure. So when he gets fat, same as me, when I'm 18% body fat, you can still just about see my abs just because of the sheer thickness and blockiness. But if they weren't that big, you would not see them. Same for this guy. So that's what slightly skewed my my thinking with this. So I think this guy was actually 20%, and judging by how much he dropped, I think I'm going to go firm with that. But anyway, what we're going to do for you is we get your photo, we assess the body composition relative to these photos here. Now, that's important because how else are you going to track the body fat percentage? You're not going to get calipers, because unless you have someone that's trained to do calipers, like me, then I'm not going to come to your fucking house and start pulling your fat and calipering you, as fun as that would be. That's unfortunately not going to happen, unless you play for my fight, maybe. So the next best thing we have is photos. That machine you have in your gym when you put your hands on, that's not going to know how fucking fat you are. And it's not a suitable means to track anyway. Photos literally don't lie. Take them in clear lighting so you can see everything, and then you're going to compare them to this pre-recorded graph here of body fat percentages. So we can see he's sat around the 20% mark, and he was 86 kilograms when he started. Let me just move this photo out of the way. So 20% body fat and 86 kilograms, 86.5 actually, 20%. So what that will then do is it will tell us what is your lean mass, and this is his, so basically 69. RMR, how many calories you need for normal daily function. How active are you within a given day? Now, you will fit into one of these categories. If you're really fucking sedentary all day and you train maybe three times a week, put yourself on 1.35. If you're really sedentary, you don't train at all, then it's a 1.2. The average person, and what I've seen across the majority of people, you're sat in the 155, or if you are watching this, and like me, you used to be in the army, or you're in some form of a trade on your feet all the time, times it by 175. So we go off the average, which he was. His maintenance is just shy of 2.9. From there, you're going to put them into a deficit. Now, off the back of this, don't go so aggressive so fast. That is a fucking stupid decision that people make all the time. Think, oh, I've got really low calorie. Oh, and also send the cardio through the... And I've made videos about why that's stupid, so you can watch them after. But Go in around 0.5% to start with, so you're roughly going to drop around 500 calories. That's going to be a sweet spot. You will see a good response off that in the initial phases, and that's what we did for him. Now, we've got the setup. Cool. So we know how many calories you should be eating. We know his macros. Protein, this is relative to this number times by 2.4. Because the problem is, if you do 1 gram per pound of body weight, it's not a bad metric. It really isn't for the majority of people. But if you're really fat, then it's not a good metric, because you just don't need that much amount of protein. It's the lean mass that requires the protein, not the body fat. Remember that. So if someone is like that, you can go off their height in centimeters as another rough metric. But anyway, we're going off this. So we've got his protein. Fats are set to 20% of this target, and the rest is filled with carbs, because carbs will drive performance in the gym. Driving performance in the gym is the main driving factor for building and retaining tissue. So we've got the setup. The next thing we wanted to understand was training. What should you do for training? Well, conveniently for you, I made a video saying the best workout for like building muscle and losing fat, whatever. You can find that on this channel. That's the program I follow. It's a program all my clients follow. It's generally push, pull, legs, rest, chest and back, arms and delts, because that will build the aesthetic upper body physique without accumulating too much fatigue from leg training. Now, if your legs are really, really skinny and you really want to grow it, of course you need to tweak that program. But for the majority of guys I coach who want a good aesthetic upper body, that program will work wonders for you, because it hits all the main upper body movements twice a week. Very important. Okay, now, what is progress and when to adjust? Now, you want to look to drop 1% of the scale weight per week, which means roughly for this guy, you want to be seeing a kilo drop week on week, ideally. And if we go over his graph, let me just pull him up. So initially, we started him, by the way, on 2,200, not 2,400, because remember I said I undershot his current body fat percentage level, so it gave me a little bit less. So we started him on 2,200. That seemed to work quite nicely. Dropped a kilo, dropped 800 grams. So we're on point for the first few weeks. But then we didn't see a change. Okay, perfect. Now this is where knowledge comes in. Now this is where I as a coach get to come to work, get to really turn up and deliver the goods and spit some game. So what we did then was we pulled the lever. You've got two options. You either decrease food, but from 2,200 calories, you're going to be decreasing food that early? Not really. Okay, so let's increase through output. So what we did was just apply 20 minutes of daily cardio. When you do that, it wants to be something that doesn't really accumulate fatigue that you can do daily. So you're looking at cross trainer, bike, incline treadmill, looking at keeping that heart rate 120 to 130. If you don't have a heart rate monitor, not the end of the world. I don't use a heart rate monitor. Just put your hands on the fucking sensors and it'll give you a rough guide. And that's good enough, in my opinion, because it works. So we then rinsed and repeated that, and we saw a sweet drop. I think he was ill around this time as well, so that's slightly skewed progress. Like, to drop 2 kilos in a week's not right. So obviously there was a little bit of dehydration, a little bit skewed progress. But then that's the fact it ran again for the next week kind of balanced itself out. So again, we saw some more gains. And then as it started to plateau out, we just pulled the lever again, added a little bit more cardio, an extra 10 minutes. So now we were sat on 35, and we just kept rinsing and repeating that, and that was working for a long period of time. It stopped working again. Okay, cool. Then we change. Then we change, and we added a little bit more cardio. This point here, we then went calories a little bit. Sorry, so calories are still the same. It was here where we saw pretty much the same. Running 40 minutes of cardio starts to get quite intense now, because maybe haven't got that much time in the day to start, completely adding more cardio. So at that point, then you've got to weigh up, right? How busy is the athlete? Is it worth decreasing a bit of food now as opposed to continuing to push cardio? Because I wouldn't go any more than 60 minutes of cardio. Fuck no, because no one's got time to do more than 60 minutes on top of steps, on top of training. So then we went down to 2,000. And again, we saw sweet drops. And then for the last little 2 weeks, then we really did dig. So we had him on 50 minutes of cardio, and we then pulled to 1,800 calories. So across the full span, we dropped 400 calories. That's not really that much across 15 weeks to then still see the body to respond and pull levers. So that was the way things went. That's when to adjust and how to make the body respond. The body will respond off the input and the output you give it until it doesn't, until it's comfortable at that. Then you have to pull another lever to get another response out of the body. And you keep doing that process on a steady, gradual basis. Now, his numbers in the gym never fell. They climbed, as they will do for you. They'll climb. Training will be better. Mainly because you're not partitioning for so much shit and crap and wrong nutrients. You'll find in the beginning, you just climb. Then as you get towards the 10-week phase, you'll fight, the numbers will want to come down because you're like starting to lose and deplete a little bit of energy. This is where you work hard to keep them there. It was the same for him. You can do refeed days towards the back end, but you need to be lean enough to do a refeed day. If you want to know how and when to do a refeed day, I've made a video on it, how and when to do a refeed day. Just tag it, lock it in for later when it's actually going to be relevant to you. So anyway, you get the body to respond until you hit to that goal point. And then that is the fucking result you're going to get towards the end. Probably one of the best results I've done so far, actually. If you look on my Instagram page and assess what you can see on there, I think that's probably the best result in terms of like end condition. Very, very good. And by the way, if you're thinking, how did he get so like veiny here? We ran a high carb day protocol, which is where you essentially replenish glycogen, kind of like the refeed. If you look at the refeed video, it'll show you how we managed to, why they get that pumped up like veiny style look. So I won't go too much into that. But that is essentially the full case study in how we got this result in 15 weeks with like the more step process this time. I wanted to zoom out and give you it from a different angle. We always talk about the calories, the macros, and then what we did to get there. But I think it's important to remember to start with this, okay? Assess your self-image, zoom out, assess your self-image. What is my hot coal rock line currently? Set a goal for it to be higher. Who do I need to become to do that? And then, so who I need to become to do that is like your North Star and your principle of where you're going to. But what you need to do is bring that back on a day-to-day like micro level, because if you don't have the day-to-day micro level, you won't make the small changes which then stack up to improve and confirm your new self-image, if that makes sense. If you follow that for 7 days, how do you think your self-image is going to be after the end of those 7 days? Up or down? Fucking right, it's going to be up, isn't it? Because you've just confirmed to yourself 7 days on the bounce that you can stick to a military style timetable, and that's going to get you results. So I hope this was useful. If it was, subscribe to the channel. If you want me to like do this for you and coach you through it so you learn everything on the way and work with me firsthand, obviously there'll be links in the description. Just book a call, we chat through and get you set up and get you to the dream outcome. And likewise, if you want to see any of the other results we've done so far, just jump onto my Instagram page and yeah, just give me a follow on there. So yeah, always a pleasure, boys. I will see you tomorrow for the next video.